Hey everyone, so I wanted to just share my full process for creating this painting to give a little bit of insight on how I put my paintings together. You'll notice that I start off with a white canvas as opposed to like a toned ground. Obviously, the advantage of a toned ground is that it allows you to see the colors better, just like a gray palette. But when I'm working with this kind of blurry effect, photographic effect, I start by blocking in just one layer of paint, but after that, I'll go back with glazes and thin, more transparent layers. When I'm done my painting, each part of it usually has at least about 3 layers. The reality of painting with layers and glazes is that each layer gets darker than the last. So if you paint on a light white surface, then the light will travel through and bounce off it and hopefully keep your painting light and luminescent. You can see here I've finished my first layer of paint, and so I start by going back through each area and like doing a bit more modeling. You can see here I use some really floofy brushes to create that really blended look, because my drawing is basically just a very simplified block-in. And then almost the first layer of paint is kind of like my drawing. And a lot of artists will really just do one pass of their painting and that's it. But I find that especially to get this sort of diffuse edges, luminescent, blurry effect, that adding layers, it really adds to that sense of depth, like especially in person. I'm not sure that this ever comes across as much on the camera as it does in person. I actually turned my painting sideways at this point because the type of blur that I put onto the photograph was like a motion blur, which led to these sort of linear aspects that it just made it easier for my hand movements to turn the canvas sideways. And even though it's blurry, it's like there's still a lot of detail to capture, and I was trying to get those lines without pushing it too far. So it's always that balance, like keep finishing those details, but also not doing so much that you lose some of your early brush strokes and the brightness that comes from light bouncing off the back of the canvas. So this is the final result. I've just started this series where I'm going to be leaning into the blurry photographic elements, which is so fun.